Before the story begins, take a second. If you've ever believed that kindness can change a life, tap the like button, and if you want more stories that stay with you long after the screen goes dark, subscribe to this channel and join our family. Now listen closely, because this story starts where hope almost ended. People were rushing through the terminal like water breaking through a dam, rolling suitcases, ringing phones, half-finished goodbyes. No one noticed the little girl at first. She sat perfectly still on a cold metal bench near gate 47, her small legs dangling, her shoes mismatched. A faded pink backpack rested beside her, zipped but bulging, like it carried everything she owned. Her right hand shook slightly as she tried to hold a juice box, the straw bending under the tremor. Travelers passed her again and again, assuming someone would come back for her. Someone always did, right? But hours passed, and no one came. Her name was Lily. She was 9 years old, born with a neurological condition that made her muscles weak and her balance unreliable. She walked slowly, spoke softly, and tired easily. Her eyes, though, were sharp and searching, tracking every face that slowed down near her bench. Each time footsteps approached, her shoulders lifted just a little. Each time they moved on, they fell again. Across the terminal, a man named Daniel struggled with a screaming toddler on his hip and a diaper bag that refused to stay on his shoulder. He was a single dad, flying home after visiting his sister, exhausted in the deep, bone-level way only parents knew. His son finally fell asleep, cheek pressed against Daniel's collarbone, and Daniel sank into the seat across from Lily without really seeing her at first. Then he heard it, a quiet, broken sniffle. Not loud enough to demand attention. Just loud enough to hurt. Daniel looked up and saw Lily wiping her face with the sleeve of her hoodie, trying to be invisible. He noticed the way her hands trembled, the way her eyes darted toward the gate agent and back again, like she was waiting for a verdict. He leaned slightly toward her, keeping his voice gentle. "Hey there, are you okay?" Lily hesitated. Adults usually talked over her, around her, or not at all. But this man was looking right at her, like her answer mattered. I'm waiting for my dad," she said. Her voice was thin, stretched tight. Daniel glanced at the departure board. Flights had come and gone. Gate 47 was already boarding a new one. "How long have you been waiting?" Lily shrugged. "Since before the lady changed shifts." That did something to Daniel's chest. He'd been traveling enough to know what that meant. He lowered his voice even more. "Where's your family, sweetheart?" Her eyes filled instantly, like they'd been holding back all this time just for permission to spill. I think he left." At the other end of the airport, in a quiet VIP lounge with glass walls and soft leather chairs, a man named Richard Hale checked his watch impatiently. He was the CEO of a powerful logistics company, a man used to numbers lining up the way he wanted, people moving when he told them to. His tailored suit was immaculate. His phone buzzed non-stop. Richard had a flight to catch, a deal to close, a life to get back to, and a daughter he had just abandoned. Lily had not always been an inconvenience. When she was born, Richard had held her carefully, fearfully, like she might break if he breathed wrong. But as the years passed and her condition became clearer, so did the reality he didn't want. Hospital visits, therapy bills, stares, slowed schedules. His wife tried to shield Lily from his frustration, but children feel things adults think they hide. When Lily was 7, her mother died suddenly from a stroke. Overnight, Richard became her only parent. And overnight, the weight became unbearable to him. He told himself stories to survive. That Lily would be better off somewhere else. That he wasn't equipped for this. That love wasn't enough. So when they traveled together for what he claimed was a fresh start, and he led her to a bench in the terminal with her backpack and a juice box, he kissed the top of her head and said he needed to make a call. And then he didn't come back. Back at gate 47, Daniel had already flagged down an airport employee. Security was called. Lily's small fingers curled into the fabric of her backpack strap like it was a lifeline. "I was good," she whispered suddenly, to no one in particular. "I didn't complain. I tried really hard." Daniel swallowed hard. He adjusted his sleeping son and sat closer. "You didn't do anything wrong," he said firmly. "None of this is your fault." Those words cracked something open in Lily. She cried then, quietly but completely, like a storm that had finally found somewhere safe to land. Security asked questions. Lily answered as best she could. Yes, her dad brought her here. Yes, he said he'd be right back. No, she didn't know where he went. Daniel stayed, even when his boarding call echoed through the terminal. even when the gate agent looked at him expectantly. "I'm not going anywhere," he told Lily. "Not until we figure this out." Hours later, child services arrived. They explained what would happen next in careful, practiced voices. Temporary placement. Attempts to contact her father. Assessments. Lily nodded, but her eyes were fixed on Daniel. "Will you stay?" she asked. Daniel didn't hesitate. "As long as they'll let me." The call to Richard came while he was halfway through a champagne toast with potential investors. An unknown number. He almost ignored it. Almost. When he finally answered, the words hit him like ice water. "Sir, this is airport security. We have your daughter." For a moment, he said nothing. The lounge felt suddenly too bright, too exposed. He flew back that night, not out of love, but obligation. When he arrived at the airport office, he expected tears, accusations, chaos. Instead, he saw Lily asleep on a couch, her head resting against Daniel's arm. Daniel was sitting awkwardly, afraid to move, his face soft with concern. Something twisted in Richard's chest. Not guilt, not yet, something closer to recognition. Lily woke when the door opened. She saw her father and froze. "You came back," she said, not hopeful, just stating a fact. Richard nodded stiffly. "Yes." Daniel stood slowly. "She's been very brave," he said, his voice controlled. "But you can't do this. You can't just leave her." Richard bristled. "You don't understand." Daniel met his eyes. "Then help me." They talked. Not politely, not easily. Words spilled out. Fear, resentment, exhaustion. Richard admitted he felt trapped. Daniel admitted he was terrified every day of messing up his own kid, but he stayed anyway. "Because leaving would destroy him," Daniel said quietly. "And it would destroy me." Lily listened, pretending not to. In the end, child services intervened. Lily went into temporary foster care. But she asked for one thing. "Can I see Daniel?" she asked. And somehow, through paperwork and persistence and a system that rarely bent, she did. Weeks turned into months. Daniel visited, read to her, helped with therapy exercises, treated her like a kid, not a problem. Richard watched from a distance at first. Then closer. Then, one day, he joined them. He saw how Lily laughed with Daniel. How she tried harder when someone believed she could. How she bloomed under patience instead of pressure. Change didn't come all at once. But it came. Richard stepped down from his position. Not completely out, but enough. He learned how to show up. How to sit through therapy sessions. How to apologize without excuses. And one day, Lily came home. Years later, at a different terminal, Lily walked slowly but proudly beside two men, one who had learned how to stay, and one who had never left. She looked up at Daniel and smiled. "Remember when you asked where my family was?" Daniel smiled back. "Yeah." She squeezed both their hands. "I found them." If this story moved you, if it reminded you that one moment of kindness can rewrite a life, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Because somewhere, right now, someone is waiting on a bench, hoping someone will stop and ask the right question.